You're listening to the One Step Deeper podcast with your host, Jimmy Moore and Brittany Davis. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com.
More than you have been lately. Lately, you've been au naturel for the most part.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. I don't know. It was Tuesday, so why not?
Absolutely. And it's a little self-love, self-care, taking care of Brittany. Like that can never be a bad thing, right?
Yeah, I do whatever I want, and that's a part of my self-love. Some weeks that means I come up to the podcast au naturel. Some weeks that means, let me throw a little lipstick and lashes on and let's do this thing. It just depends on the week. But we'll get into that and all about the difference on what we view self-love as and what we think about everybody else who gets it wrong.
Oh, yeah, the culture. I was even before this podcast today, just kind of perusing on social media just to kind of see, like, look up the hashtag, guys, on any social media platform, self-love. You will see all kind of bullshit.
It's literally cringy. So the one I did was I checked the, oh, please correct me. I always called them GIFs. They're probably called something else. The GIF.
GIFs is what I've heard, but GIFs probably works.
Who cares?
It's for kids. Go ahead.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. I typed in self-love and oh my gosh, the bubble baths and the face mask and only women and the hair. I'm just like, what in the actual? Okay, let's get in. I'm ready to talk about it.
Wait, bubble baths and face masks isn't self? Oh, okay. A bat waiting on me after the show today. No, it's not good. I'm good. So yes, guys, if you haven't noticed, episode 46 here today, self-love. It's not what you think. And real excited to get into this one with this amazing woman here today. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com is the website. Go check us out, you guys. We have all the past episodes there. You can watch them on video form or listen to the podcast. So whatever way you prefer. If you don't want to look at our faces, go listen. If you want to see our faces, we do love doing the video. I love the interaction. I can see in real time, okay, did she laugh at that? Because sometimes I can't tell. But now I tell very much on camera. So check us out on our official website. On Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern time, we got our groupies over on YouTube that like to watch the premiere. Thank you guys for watching. It does premiere at 4 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday afternoons, so go check that out. I also put it up on IGTV, which I guess is now called Instagram Video. So it's up on Instagram Video. I got used to saying that now. Over on Instagram and then on Facebook, we embed the YouTube video so you can see it there as well. Then on Mondays, it is a traditional podcast. Go check it out. Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, Alexa. You can see and hear it in that way. I still love just saying Alexa, play the One Step Deeper podcast latest episode. If you don't say latest episode, it'll go to the very first episode or wherever you left off. And because I did that the other day, I forgot to say latest episode, and it went One Step Deeper podcast episode 18. Da-da-da. I'm like, that's a long time ago. I don't want to listen to it.
Well, that's the thing too for all the people who want to catch up. And Cammie got me the other day. Cammie did that, and then she was mimicking and mocking the intro, and I was like, "Girl, you better stop! You better stop right now!" But yeah, they love to listen on Alexa too.
So Cammie was saying, "You're listening to the One Step Deeper podcast."
Yeah, but I think it was because I said you were coming, and she's like,
Jimmy Moore and Brittany Davis.
Like with Jimmy Moore and Brittany Davis. I was like, you better stop right now.
I love her to death. She's awesome. Yes, I did get to see you last Friday. First time in months we've seen each other, so a long time. Anyway, one more thing. Go leave us a review in case you like the show or hate the show. We don't care what you think about the show. Just write us a review. I get lots of comments still. They keep pouring in, especially on YouTube. YouTube people, you're really great about giving us those comments on both the full episode and on the little tidbits that we post. So go check it out, you guys. But let's dive into this one here in episode 46, because self-love is something I remember the first time I heard it. I thought, all right, That's kind of cool. Like, people need to learn to love themselves and have respect for themselves and all the things. I think in general, the concept is a good one. Where did it get off the rails?
I think it's the same thing with literally anything online. Anything online, it becomes this pure, wonderful thing, and then it just gets taken 10 levels of hell no. What the hell? And so something that I saw, years ago as I started this personal development journey, I saw the self-love thing. And I actually followed that path of seeing self-love as getting up and doing my makeup or having a facial or having a shower. And somewhere along the way, like literally, here's Brittany tough love. Taking a fucking shower is not self-love, it's basic hygiene. And I hate that it gets posed that way, specifically like with mothers. I see it a lot more with moms of, oh, take a break and go take a shower. Are you fucking kidding me? It's not a break to go take a shower. It's basic hygiene. And I understand that some people don't have accessibility to even the basic hygiene. I completely understand that. But like when we're talking about self-love here, taking a shower does not fall into self-love. It doesn't fall into self-care even. It's basic hygiene.
Although yes, I agree with all of that. I will say, though, that self-love, it doesn't have to be something that you just want. I think it can be something that you need, not a big hygiene thing. Well, take, for example, all that stuff on your face right now. That is self-love because you feel good when you're able to put it on. It's like you've gone real extensive with the eye stuff before. You didn't do that today, but it's enough that you're like, hey, I want to look good on camera. I got my hair red. I got my lipstick on. I can see all the makeup that you wear, because when you don't wear makeup, you still look great. But for you, it makes you feel good. And that's loving yourself to do things that make you feel good. Today, I cleaned up my beard and I got everything looking kind of cool. I've lost some weight. And so I like to do self-love for myself, doing all that and feeling great in my own skin.
I think like what you're saying, that feeling good in your own skin, that's the secret sauce. And I'll get into all the different ways, but like, it's not about the individual thing. It's not about taking the bubble bath. It's not about drinking the glass of wine. It's not about putting on makeup. It's not about taking care of your beard. I don't have one of those. It's not about that. It's doing whatever falls into feeling good about yourself.
Yeah.
That is where the self-love is.
Those are the means to the end of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yes. And so it looks different for everybody. Now, of course, I'm going to go in a little bit, talk about like the ways that you love yourself. But seriously, it's not about the individual task. And so that's something that frustrates me so much when we began to talk about self-love and it's just marketed. Number one, I have never seen self-love marketed to men. And that pisses me the hell off so much because men, go ahead.
It makes sense, though, because men aren't allowed to have feelings. And so if you're not allowed to have feelings, that includes loving yourself, much less showing any emotion to someone else. I buck that trend. I'm not your average everyday guy, but I know how rare I am feeling and being able to talk about the things we talk about here. And you're right. There is no role model for self-love for men, but guys, you're just as much a part of this as well. If you need that time to kind of recharge who you are, remind yourself who you are. And look, every girl I know in my life, including the lovely lady here, they love it when you open up to them and you're vulnerable with them. Vulnerability is strong AF. It is. Yeah. And it's seen as something not that. But look how much you could self-love if you simply opened yourself up to those, especially women in your life, but even the other dudes in your life, if they also are doing a self-love journey. Don't do it to a dude that's not into this, because you will fall into the habit of, all right, another dude doesn't care about sharing feelings. It's kind of weird, but every girl I know loves that.
Yeah, so I wanted to go in on that, talking about guys. So yes, I am very much go women, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the go women person. I'm right there with you. And I do believe that there are some really disgusting men out there. We could talk about that. We kind of have talked about that. However, I wanted to hit on the very true topic, now that we're talking about self-love and how it's not marketed to men. Men are given this idea in society that they are providers. Shut up, provide, shut up, be there for the woman who needs the self-love, be quiet, work your job, and stay in the background. And it drives me insane because I've seen it in my husband. I've seen it in Wild Man. And like I tell him all the time, please, it destroys me when I hear him say things about, well, I just have to go to work, and I just, like, he's not living his full life, and it bothers me because he views himself as less than, because he's just here to provide. He's just here to provide a paycheck, so his feelings don't matter. And the way that he, him going to do something by himself, it doesn't matter because he has to provide for his children, and he has to give that opportunity for his wife and his opportunity for his kids, except when Wild Man's working 65 hours a week and he comes home and, I need a break. Yeah, I need a break from the kids. That's not giving him a break. So now there's so much there. And in his mind and in society, it's planted as if you don't help her, you are bad. And it sucks. And it sucks so bad. I don't know. I guess it's just the Wild Man, like watching him and seeing him go through his own journey and hearing his words of not loving himself and valuing himself.
Yes.
It eats at me so bad because I see him as so valuable past the point that he sees himself. And I hate what society has done in telling men that they can't love themselves, that they're just there to provide.
Do you tell him that in that many words? I know you do, but like, does he hear it? Does he receive it? Or is it just, oh, well, she's my wife, she's supposed to say those things?
Yeah, it's been a long journey with him. He's obviously been there in my own self-love, self-respect, personal development journey. He's been there this whole way, and you kind of can't help but hear me talk about it. Even my dad has said in so many words what I'm saying, that he feels that he's just there to provide. He's not, he doesn't feel respected, or he doesn't feel loved. He feels used because he's just there to provide, and people only see him as valuable when he's providing. And this is a manhood-wide thing that I have seen and observed in my life, that men are just given this identity of provide or you're worth nothing.
Provide, and without any emotion in your life. Like, I think that has paralyzed people like your dad, people like Wild Man, and your husband went through his growing up period not having great role models in this area. And I think this is a part of the thing too. If I'm ever blessed with kids someday and I get a boy, that boy is going to learn that a man can have feelings, a man can cry, a man can express emotion, because all of those things go into loving yourself. Like, I know for many years of my life, my very oppressive dad taught me you're not allowed to express emotion. So then when I get out on my own, this is a revelation you and I talked about in my own life, that I'm like, holy crap, this is why I'm that way. I watched this man, very cold-hearted man, always squelch me from talking when there were issues. Well, guess how Jimmy now has responded as an adult? When there are issues and there's conflict, what's the first thing that Jimmy does, Brittany? I want to talk right away. Yes. I need to resolve it. Why? Because in the past, I was never allowed to have any contribution to that discussion. And so part of my self-love journey is I don't want to feel that onus. Now, I have the very complex relationship with Brittany, because she's exactly the opposite. You went the other way. You were used to, because of your childhood, going and hiding when conflict happened. And so conflict for you means, no, gotta go hide. Gotta feel my feels and figure out what this means. I'm like, no, I can't be quiet. I need to get it out. I desperately need to talk. Please let me talk to you. And it's like both sides are going, leave me alone. I want to talk. Leave me alone. I want to talk. Ah!
Yes. Oh, it's so funny because, self-love means different things for different people. So for you, the way that you respect yourself is like get it out. And for me, the way I respect and love myself, I do my internal work. I go internal and worry about. And so, and I wanted to point this out, that I know it sounds a little kooky. Okay, I get it. But really, we are in a relationship with ourselves. We are born into a relationship with ourselves, but no one is ever taught how to have a relationship with yourself. And so when I go quiet, that's what I'm doing. I'm within myself feeling my feelings. I'm within myself going through those same things that I would do within a relationship when there's a conflict with Wild Man or conflict with you. You know, I do the same thing. I pause, realize where I am, make sure that I'm not reacting, make sure I'm not in anger and reaction, and make sure that within myself, within my own thoughts, outside of my emotional reactions, and then I talk. And so I do the same thing with myself when I have some triggering moment. And yeah, maybe that does look like me going to get in a bubble bath, but within the bath, I'm reading a book that helps me calm my nervous system,
Right.
or I'm just thinking, or maybe I do get on social media and zone out for a couple of minutes. You know, like, it's not a negative thing to zone out. I just don't prefer to think. I prefer not to zone out, and I actually prefer to feel my feelings. I personally, I'm not down on anybody who does this, but coming home after a long day of work and going, I deserve this glass of wine, that's not self-love.
Right.
If anything, it's avoiding what you need to do in order to love yourself. And that is, feel your fucking feelings. Feel them, honor every part of yourself, and honor that relationship that you have within yourself. Okay, go ahead.
Is it safe to say that self-love, if you're doing it well, you're actually growing from whatever it is that you're doing? If you're just in a bubble bath, kind of frivolously laying there, if you're just kind of scrolling through Instagram, not really, it's mindless. Okay, there's a moment for those things, but shouldn't self-love also mean, hey, I love and respect this person enough that I'm going to grow from whatever thing that I'm doing? So you reading a self-development book, that's you growing, that's you caring enough about Brittany. And maybe we should look at it in that way. Self-love is you're telling yourself, you're my very best friend. When you look in the mirror, when you look at that person and you say, you know what, I love you so much, I want you to be better. I'm still on my sabbatical to 50 journey, day 56 as of the recording of this. And I'm doing those things for me. I'm doing those things as a self-love act because I know I can feel better if I lose some of the belly fat. And I'm already feeling better. I walked the furthest I've ever walked in half an hour yesterday, hit a new PR. I was booking it, girl. And so, so it's those kinds of things that, yes, you can love yourself, but what are you going to do to show you love yourself? Don't just say, oh, this is self-love. Okay, maybe it's temporary Band-Aid self-love, but don't you want that permanent stitches, you're going to be a brand new person kind of self-love?
Oh my God, I love it. You better brand that temporary Band-Aid self-love. Oh my God, if that is not the best description that I've ever heard. Listen, I'm all for affirmations. I believe in affirmations. I think they're helpful. But standing in front of the mirror and just speaking some affirmations over yourself is not the finale. Finality? Help me. It's not the only way.
The final word is, it's not the be-all end-all.
Thank you. It is not the only way to reach that. It is a part of the puzzle if that's something that works for you, but it's not going to fix years of hating yourself. It's not going to fix years of trauma and years of pain to just poof, love yourself by saying, I love myself. It's not that simple. And it can be very simple. I have a couple of ways to make it extremely simple, but they're definitely tough love ways. And I think you talking about your journey and what you're doing with your sabbatical, I walked self-love fucking boot camp in 75 days. And I realized in those 75 days that this whole self-love is bubble baths and wine. It blew the fucking lid off of it, and it's such utter bullshit. And so my view on self-love is so different now.
So you guys know I've been doing 75 hard, right? One of the requirements for this is drink a gallon of water per day. I still find myself needing a little extra boost and a little bit more electrolytes to fuel all of these workouts I've been doing. And that's why I'm super excited to be partnered with Element right now on the One Step Deeper podcast, because I am needing all the electrolytes and they are providing life for me right now. They sent me this amazing package, guys. Look. What? We got watermelon, we got orange, we got raspberry, and my personal favorite is citrus because, listen, it reminds me of margarita, and during 75 hard, you can't have those, so I'm telling you, this stuff is giving me life. So if you're interested in trying them for yourself and getting some great electrolytes, you can go to drinklmnt.com/Jimmy, and there you can get a free sample. All you have to do is pay the shipping. Hope you enjoy. Remember, just as Element says, stay salty.
And that's okay. I think society tells us to deserve all these things that people do for self-love. Oh, I deserve the glass of wine when I come home from work. I deserve to take vacations and get away from the kids. I deserve. And so when people get those messages, they think, okay, I'm going to do this thing and it's going to be self-love and all will be great in the world. Well, here's how you know it's not. Here's how you know it's the temporary Band-Aid self-love. When it's over, how do you feel? Are you really revived? Are you really ready to take on kind of that growth period? No, I would say bubble bath. Okay, you feel good after, but it's like if that was all it was and there's nothing after it, guess what? You're still going to feel like shit when it's done. Whereas if you're doing something to actively grow while you're in the bubble bath, reading a self-development book, you go on to Instagram stories and you say, oh my God, guys, I'm only 13 pages into this new book and you're never going to guess.
And now that's a long-term thing. But see, my dad and I got into this conversation, it's talking about alcohol, and he was kind of prodding of why it's not a big part of my life. And it's not, and I'm around people all the time who drink. And I recently had a really big party where I had lots of drinks. I got to see Brittany very drunk. But you know what? So did I. I got drunk too. And I don't drink either. I think that's the first time I had any alcohol in 2 years. But we didn't go into it going, I deserve this. No, it was just, I want to have fun. I'm doing this because I want to. It had nothing. We knew afterwards we weren't going to feel great. Okay. Like, it's just the honest truth. Okay. Yeah. But my dad and I were talking about this idea that, come home from a hard day and have a couple of drinks and what that means. And I know that's very popular within the workforce. I have a different kind of workforce. My working doesn't look the same as everybody else's, but I know this is a very popular thing to come home and like numb out with alcohol or numb out with the TV or numb out with your phone and just kind of numb out because you've had a really hard day. Yeah. And I kind of pushed it back to him and told him, I don't like doing those things because all it's doing is pausing my life. Yes. I'm not feeling my feelings. I'm not growing. I'm not learning anything. I'm literally just existing, and I don't want to just exist in my life. I feel like as a kid, that's all I did. I was in trauma just existing. And so I'm not saying that every single second of every single day I need to be pushing towards growth. That's unrealistic as well. But like, if I'm not growing, I feel like shit. And that's what I learned on 75 hard. Like, if I'm not pushing myself somewhere, I feel like utter shit. Okay. And so I pushed myself a little hard on 75 hard. I went a little overboard. There were days that I was like, I don't know how she's going to make it, because you did, from the back pain that just lingered for weeks on. And by the way, how is the back pain? I haven't asked you in a while. Is it better? Okay. No more heating pad while we're recording. No more heating pad. But I loved listening to Andy Frisella as I was doing the 75 hard program. I would listen to his podcast, and I still listen to his podcast. We're very different people. Him and I believe very different politically, but his personal development stuff, it's golden. And one of these things that he talks about is self-love isn't this frivolous bullshit that you and I have already said. And he even goes a little bit harder in, self-love is created. Like, loving yourself is not something you just wake up, look in the mirror and go, yes, bitch. No, you create that. Well, and there are some people that take it to the narcissistic level of, well, yeah, I do love myself. I only love
myself to the exclusion of everyone else. And look, if you have self-love, you include everybody around you. Self-love means you love yourself first so that you be loving to other people. A narcissist, which we've talked about very extensively on this show many times, they will have that self-love and everyone else be damned.
Yes. So self-love for me, what I learned on that program was, here's the tough truth. It's doing the list. It's doing the list. I began to love myself, not because I looked into the mirror and I said, that's my perfect body. That's not self-love. That's not self-love. I looked in the mirror and go, you're doing the damn thing. You're getting up and and self-love, self-respect, and self-trust kind of all go together. And so the more that I followed through on the list that I said I was going to, I began to trust myself. We lose trust for ourselves. And in losing trust in ourselves, we lose love for ourselves. It's the same thing when you have an external relationship with somebody else. If you can't trust them, you can't love them. You can't trust somebody, you can't love them. So if you can't trust yourself when you say, oh, I'm going to start this new workout routine, and then you give up on yourself, you are teaching yourself not to love yourself by not trusting yourself. You can't trust yourself because you don't follow through on your word. So every single day I woke up on 75 hard, it was brutal. It was brutal. But by the end of it, I knew that when I said I was going to do something, I was going to do something. Like even now, I picked up another book. I took a couple weeks off and gave myself a much needed slow down period. I didn't quit. I just slowed down because I was going pretty hard for a while.
You went to the gym, but you took away the walks, which you've just added back, and you let yourself have that moment, the Halloween party you had. But yeah, I mean, you've pretty much done all the things that you did just at a much slower pace, and that's cool.
Yeah, and so I picked books back up, and by picking books back up, that is me. I picked it up and said, I'm going to read this book. Now, in the past, I would have picked it up, read a couple pages, got bored one day, didn't pick it up, and then I'd never pick it up again.
Right.
But now I know, because I trust myself and I love myself enough to stay dedicated. I picked this book up. I said, I'm going to read this. I know now I'm going to read it because I have such a level of self-love, respect, and trust for myself. I'm going to make the thing happen.
And you're a learned woman because of it. By the way, the list thing that you mentioned earlier, I have my list of things, a whole mile-long list of things I do every day. My act of self-love was, I'm getting these done by 10 o'clock. Yeah. And don't know, the very last one, I took a cold shower. Because it's cold enough outside now that the pipes are cold enough that if I do the cold shower, it's basically an ice bath. And so I've been doing those, and that was the last thing I did right at 10 o'clock. So by 10:15 this morning, I was done. Sometimes I'm scrambling at the end of the day, kind of like what you did. There were some days that you hadn't even got your first workout in. You had to do 2 of them a day. Your first workout in is past 5 o'clock. And I'm like, how is she going to do it? We're out there walking it almost midnight. That's how you did it. And so it's cool to like say, okay, it's all done. Now I can do other things like working on our book. I'm really kind of, we're progressing quite well on the book is the point. So coming to you in early 2022. We'll leave it right there for now. But so I'll have time on this afternoon to work on that some more. I need to go to the store. Like I did all that, got it done, checked it off and said, okay, those things are important to me, but I don't need to spread them throughout the day. Maybe I can get them done by 10 so I can go do things that I need to do. And that's my part of like buying back moments in my life, time in my life that if I didn't have the self-love, I would have just lackadaisically go through the day and, well, if I get to them, I will. No, they never get done if you get to them, you will.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to bring Andy Frisella up just again because this process that he talks about is amazing.
Just a reminder, people, Andy Frisella is the guy that created the 75 Hard program. In case people haven't heard of him before.
So Andy Frisella, when I was listening to his podcast, he says there's a thing that he does where if he gets these things done, he wins the day. He gives himself a check mark and he wins the day. And he wants to see more wins than losses. And so in his mind, he can't sit back, relax until he wins the day. And I kind of like this. I do not like the idea of earning your calories or earning your rest or earning ugh. No. That's not what I'm saying. If you have a list, and he said, keep it freaking simple. Stop giving yourself 15 things to do in a day. You're never going to get it done, and you're going to feel like a loser at the end of the day because you've given yourself too much to accomplish, and it's not possible. Stop setting yourself up for failure. So when we're talking about self-love, give yourself 3 to 5 tasks, even if it's new things every single day. Okay. Sometimes you just got to sit down 5 minutes, come up with 3 to 5 tasks that you need to accomplish for that day for you to give yourself a check mark. Say, I won the day. Give yourself. I'm sorry, I have it right here next to me. Oop, my stuff's falling out. I have this book. This is my planner. She believed she could, so she fucking did. That's my planner. I love it. It's a square planner. And I literally will check mark if I won the day by doing all of my tasks.
What are the tasks? Let's hear them.
Okay, so they do change depending on the day, but usually it's some type of movement. I'm not saying go to the gym at 3 a.m. It doesn't always work. Okay. I love going to the gym, but right now with Wildman's schedule, I can't. So I started walking again, and I started accepting, okay, Brittany, we don't need to work out and walk every single day. Okay. Sometimes we need to calm down and just go for a light leisure walk. Nothing crazy, not trying to pour sweat here. This is things I have to tell myself. So literally it's just movement, whatever that equals. Maybe that's just dance with the kids. Maybe that's a walk in the backyard. Maybe that's playing soccer with the kids. Maybe that is go to the gym. It's just movement.
Maybe it's on a day when you're pain from your stitches and your scar, and all you can do is just lift weights in the air. You're doing something.
Literally just movement. That is literally my only goal. So I check mark that.
And talking with your tongue for an hour does not count as movement on our podcast. Although it does move quite a bit.
Yeah, it really does. Water. This is the one where I have been losing my day ever since 75 hard was over. So 75 hard was a gallon a day. After the end of that, I was like, I am so sick of water. I don't even want to look at it. So I've been pretty shoddy with my water drinking lately, but I'm back on. And so my goal is half a gallon a day. That's one of the parts for me to win my day, half a gallon. Nice. Then one of the ones that nobody wants to hear this, part of self-love and self-respect is the food you put in your body. I am not saying that you can't eat donuts, okay? I hate donuts, that's why I use it. I'm not saying that you can't eat junk food. I'm not saying that. But here's the thing that you have to ask yourself. Does this bless my body? That equals different things on different days.
Or eat like give a damn about yourself. I've heard that expression a lot as well.
Yes. So I had a Halloween party, guys. Okay. I didn't eat very clean.
And she had that weren't necessarily great foods. But look, you had a mixed crowd, people that was there, mind having junk, and then you had things that you had lots of little cheese and little things and I partook in both. Yeah,
and it blessed me. It blessed me to have that experience that I ate these things, I drank this alcohol, I had fun and relaxed with my friends and my family, and it blessed me so much. I woke up the next morning with a little bit of a headache, no problem. Shameless plug, Elements. I took my Elements the next morning, and amazing. Hangover gone. I don't have one next to me. Yes, shameless plug. Element, thank you for coming through on the hangover remedy there. But literally, I drank my Element, I was better. And it was so worth it. And it blessed me so much to have that experience with my friends and have that party. And that's what I'm talking about when I say, does it bless you? So 98% of the time, I'm eating things like turkey burgers and salads because I love it. It blesses me to eat those kinds of things. This morning I had an egg white omelet and an English muffin. Delicious. I loved every second of eating that meal. That blessed me. But that Halloween party also blessed me. So that's one of the things I wanted to say. That was a little side note that is part of self-love, is treating your body with respect. So that's on my list. That's my third one on my list.
Which means occasionally having a party and having a moment. It's why I try to tell people, if you go into a birthday party for your kid and you want some of that birthday cake, don't fret about it. Somebody on my walk and talk the other day was like, I ate something off plan, and what can I do? I'm like, love yourself enough to get right back on the plan again. Like, why do you beat yourself up over one little indiscretion?
Okay, side note. Okay, I just have to. All right, I took 3 weeks, a little bit over 3 weeks off after the 75 hard, very strict on 75 hard. Literally, in the course of 3 weeks, I've gained 5 pounds. I haven't weighed. I haven't tracked. I barely worked out. 3 weeks. And the 5 pounds was all water weight, mostly from the alcohol that I had. And so, like, I try to tell people, like, one meal, one thing, why are we stressing? That's the least form of self-love that you could do. You are stressing over literally, guys, come on, let's move on with our life. Okay, but back to my list. Those are my top 3. I want to make sure I get my water in, I get some kind of movement in, I bless my body with what I eat. Now let's get into, those are my daily list. Those are things that I check that I win my day. Usually there's some box that has to do with our book. Excuse me. Our book, podcast.
There's the party coming up 3.5 days.
Yes. Either a check mark about some task I want to get done with our book, with our podcast. I'm doing some things for my dad and his business, some things for my mom and her business. There's some kind of work related check mark. And usually I keep it 3 to 5 things, and that's my day. If I check all those off, I win the day. Now I can trust myself. And it's not like I can't love myself unless I do those things. No. That's not how it goes. But by doing those things, I'm creating that sense of trust that I will get these things done and creating that love.
Although, because you have this expectation for yourself, that's a part of you winning the day, there are moments when you have freaked out. Jimmy, I need to get you a chapter for the book, and you would be so upset. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm not putting that pressure on you. Where is this pressure coming from? It's your choice that now I know. Now it makes sense.
Yes. So you have to balance it a little bit. But another way to, and we've said this so many times, we have kind of interchangeably connected self-love and self-respect. And that's something that we don't really, that's not something that I see within the community. So there was a thing that Wyman and I went through early on in our marriage. It was a marriage thing that Emerson Eggerichs is his name. And he wrote a book called Love and Respect. And I have the one with love and respect within the marriage, love and respect with your kids. And I actually like, even though it's evangelical and a little based in Christianity, I like the concept outside of that. And so the concept is, without love, women act without respect, and without respect, men act without love. Of course, I push back on that because Wyman and I are a little different in this. He's more loving, whereas I'm more like, you better respect me.
You're the guy and he's the girl.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little backwards with our relationship. So of course I push back, but this is so true within ourselves and within our body. When we respect ourselves, that love comes naturally. It begins to be a cycle. But when we don't respect ourselves, then we don't love ourselves, and then it becomes this crazy cycle of you can never get off of it because you're never giving yourself what you need by respecting your body and respecting your mind. Like books, maybe you don't like books, maybe podcast is your thing, or maybe listening to books, that's okay too, but books is something that feeds into me, and I'm respecting myself by learning more information. And so that respect and love just kind of, it's all kind of looped together. And part of that respect too, we're not going to get through an episode of One Step Deeper and self-love without Brittany saying, you better have some fucking boundaries. Boundaries is self-love and respect.
Yes, I mean, and we did a whole episode about that a few weeks back. Guys, go listen to that episode if you missed it. But that was the point of that entire episode, was love yourself enough to create those boundaries. And by you're loving yourself, but you're loving the other people as well with those boundaries. And so, yeah, that's an essential part of this discussion.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at this point because boundaries is just like my middle name. I love it. And I said it earlier. So that's one way to love yourself. Boundaries. Number 2, we kind of said it earlier, but like just hit on it again. Feel your feelings. Stop taking your feelings and not handling them and pushing them on other people. Like, that is not the way that we heal. That's not the way that we love ourselves. And all you're doing is destroying other people and convincing them not to love themselves, because you're taking your feelings and blah and spitting it on everybody else. Just deal with your own feelings right here.
Yeah, and let's be honest. If we've never had love demonstrated to us properly, either as a kid or in your relationships as adults, you've got to learn to love. And I mean, learn to love, because if you've never had it demonstrated, if you've never had someone in your life who experiences self-love themselves, you may not know how. We're hoping this podcast here today gives you some clues about how you can start it. And so at the end, when you kind of finish your list, I want to talk about those ways people can try to build this self-love, because it's not just around the things, it's a mindset. And if you get the mindset right, those things become a conduit to getting there. So let's not miss that here at the end.
Keto can be hard. Tabulating, measuring, baking, taking 3 months to perfect one recipe, and to mixed reviews.
Did something die in here? Oh, I think it moved.
And by that point, you give up your diet, find a dark corner, and stuff yourself with sugar, carbs, and regret.
This, isn't what it looks like.
Well, this is where Keto Chow saves the day. The easiest, tastiest, ketoist meal replacement on the market.
It's like ice cream melted in my mouth.
Yes, but melted ice cream with all the protein, nutrients, vitamins, and electrolytes your body needs.
Oh, that's cool.
And with 3 starter kits, each with restaurant tips, keto food guides, and a ton of flavors to try, your taste buds and your waistline will thank you.
Thank you.
So grab your starter kit today at jimmylovesketochow.com.
It's so easy.
Keto Chow. Make keto easy.
Of course. And I wanted to say too, yes, you are so right that some people have never been demonstrated what it's like to feel loved or be loved. And this goes back to reparenting. That's a great episode to go listen to. I believe it's episode 6. But reparenting yourself and kind of loving yourself the way you know, whether you want to admit or not, you know how you receive love. You know what you need in order to feel loved. I know what I need in order to feel loved. Sometimes that's space, but I am like, talk to me, okay? When I'm ready, talk to me. I want to talk. I want to be on the phone. I want to see you. I'm a quality time love language person.
So the 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Go get that book if you're into reading books. And if you're not, you're going to hear a lot of them from Brittany. She's been reading a lot of books, but the 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, I mean, it's been out there for decades, perennial bestseller for a reason, because if you're in any kind of relationship, you need to know what that person's love language is, and you need to know what your own is, and that it really does help in relationship.
So even if you've never experienced the love that you need in order to feel loved from anybody else externally, you know what you need, and you have to learn to give that to yourself. Okay? Yes. You have to learn to give yourself what you need. Quality time. Okay. Oh, I just figured it out, Jimmy. I just figured it out live on the podcast. Figured it out. My love language is quality time. So, bitch, when I go away, I'm just spending quality time with me. I'm sorry. I just figured it out live.
Is that what we're
giving myself self-love by spending quality time with myself?
Is that what we're going with? But you know what? There probably is some veracity to that you do need that time away, because you realize, hey, if I don't go away and you're not the only friend in my life. I've got another friend, a newer friend in my life who is exactly like you. She said, oh, I'm like a hermit. I'm feeling my feelings and I need to be alone. I'm like, oh crap, not my best friend and now my newest friend. Both of you exactly the same way. And I'm meanwhile going, I want to help. I'm here. Hello.
That's so funny. Okay, so that's 2 boundaries. Feel your feelings. Okay, nothing new. I've said these things almost every week. Boundaries, feel your feelings. Okay, it's just my brand. We've kind of talked about this a lot. Respect your body. And by respect your body, I'm not just talking about just movement. I'm not talking about just food. I'm talking about, yes, your mind too. Respect that. Respect your all of that. Listen, and this applied to me, so I wrote it down. Pain is a message from your body. Okay? and you have to respect that and love yourself enough to listen to that message of pain. I hate this for myself because I don't listen. I'm like, nah, pain, pain, whatever. We're going to keep going. I don't listen to that, but please do. Please learn from my lessons.
Well,
And it's okay to honor the fact that you're in pain and slow down.
you were forced to pay attention to physical pain last year. And it's a whole heck of a lot better. Like I was thinking earlier today, wow, how far you've come from a year ago when you were still in the throes of the pain and you were coming out of the pain from the surgery and being in the hospital for so long. But a year ago to now, I mean, you're just like, you did 75 hard, and yeah, there were painful moments in that, but like you're way ahead of that because you invested in yourself. You loved yourself, and you knew that this was something you needed. Not that it wasn't like negotiable, it was needed. You knew it. And 75 hard as it was for you, it was the biggest act of self-love that Brittany Davis could have done for herself because you needed to feel normal again. And I don't think you felt normal until you did that challenge, and then you're like superhuman.
Superhuman, maybe. Yeah, see, I hated myself last year. I've said that in so many words that I hated my body. I hate the way it was responding. I hate what happened to me. I was just in this, everything was awful. Okay, I was mad at the world and I hated everything and I didn't respect myself. And because I didn't love my body and I didn't respect myself, I went a little, yes, I gained a lot of weight and it was just showing up. You could tell. I lost friendships last year. Like I lost several friendships last year because I was in a place where I couldn't love myself. I hate the saying that you have to love yourself in order for people to love you. I hate that saying because it's not true. It's not fully true. I can see where they're trying to come from. It's not fully true. Wild Man is a perfect example of that. And even you guys have given me love and respect even when I couldn't give it to myself. So it's not fully true, but I do understand what they're trying to say. And I was in a place last year. I hated so much about me. I couldn't give love to anybody else. I couldn't give respect or anything. I was just so angry and bitter that it was affecting everything around me. It just oozed out of me. And so the opposite is also true. When you begin to love and you respect yourself so much, it just oozes out of you, not as an arrogance. Maybe confidence is the right word, but not arrogance. It's just when I'm around people and I'm comfortable with myself and I love myself and I'm listening to them talk, I can give advice from a place of, oh shit, I've been there. I have been there, but let me tell you where I am now. Let me show you where I am now. And this has happened out and played out at breakfast with Dad. When I have a breakfast with Dad and I showed him and I listened to some of the words he's saying, I'm like, ooh, I was there just last year. Let me help you. Let me show you how I've gotten to where I am now. And so it's really cool to watch that. It's kind of gone away from what I was saying of respect your body, but I do that.
Hey, and let me piggyback on the rabbit trail, going one step deeper. I was with you through experience last year. I think your perception of it, your perception is your reality. You lived in your mind, your body, so I don't think you were as bad off as you think. Like, you helped me through an extraordinarily difficult season in my life, well on the other side of it now, thanks to you and other friends in my life. And so even in the midst of your pain, when you didn't think you had value, you had enough self-love to know, I care about this guy. I'm going to help in the midst of my own. And I was trying to help you as well, from showing myself self-love and saying, okay, my friend needs me. So we were there for each other through tough stuff, very different stuff, but just as difficult stuff.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Because yes, I was still there for people. Like,
we started this podcast in the midst of that. So it's like something good was happening, even if your perception of it in your mind was, oh, I was just a blubbering mess. I really wasn't helpful. I lost all my friends because I forgot to self-love. No, I think the self-love was still there. You were evolving. You were becoming Brittany Lee, as you like to say in your Instagram IG handle. And so Yeah, and I think you were further along than maybe your mind was letting you believe.
And yeah, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. I like when we go one step deeper with ourselves right here live and everybody can watch it. This is what Jimmy and I do on the phone when we're having our conversations. This is what Brittany does when she says she's doing the work. Okay, when I'm doing the self-love, I take it one step deeper and go, why did I feel that way? Why was that the perception that I had? Why? And I just keep going deeper and deeper. That's why the name of this show is so monumental. I love the name of this show because it's literally what we do. We just take this knowledge that we have and just dig deeper and deeper and deeper until we get the bottom of it and go, oh, dang, I got it.
Our show, our book, our future conference that we're going to do. One step deeper, apropos.
Those light bulb moments, like when you have those light bulb moments, I had one yesterday and I was just like, this is incredible. And like, that's what I chase with self-love. That's like the epitome, the height of when I'm like, yes, I trust myself. I love myself. I did the thing. And it's just like this bubble of beautiful, don't know how to describe it. It just feels so freaking good. Like that's, you just want to keep chasing that.
Self-love is all about identifying those things that you actually want and to stop feeling the pity party for yourself about why life isn't going the way you want it to go. Self-love is like, okay, you can make of yourself however you want to make of it. There's no limitations to what it's possible to happen. If friends don't like the version of who you are, that's their issue a lot of times. And I've lost a lot of friends as well. You've changed. I'm like, thank you. Like I have changed and I'm glad. And I even had somebody comment on a post I did today. I wrote a post manifesting about my future relationship. And so this lady said, wow, like some girl's going to see a very different version of Jimmy now than he was 3 years ago. And she's like, and we've all watched you change on your writing and in your podcasting and all the things you do because of you loving yourself enough and doing the work. And I think there's people that they love to skate through life and they're very happy with skating through life and never wanting to face that internal battle that they should be loving themselves. And they should be making themselves more vulnerable. Again, having a best friend that pushes me in that way, guys, has been incredible. And I'm so grateful for Brittany because I've gone there because you pushed me there. And you've taught me now to push you there because you like that. You want that. Yeah. And if you don't have somebody that you can bounce, either a spouse or a friend in your life or somebody, find somebody because it does help you in this self-love journey.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, when we're talking about losing people in our lives, I don't view it as a sad thing. No. I view it as information. I grew, and their response to my growth is all I needed to know.
Yes.
And it does hurt. I'm not saying it's not a painful experience to lose somebody that you've been close to.
Yes.
But you have to view it as, and just accept it. This was their response to your growth, and that's all you need to know. Accept it there and move forward. And that's something self-love in the self-love community, they talk about accept yourself, accept your body. Yes, do that. And they forget the and. It's not accept your body or not. It's accept your body or accept your mind or accept where you are or accept these friends that you've lost. It's accept and move forward and keep going. I love my body. I love when I think about the fact that I survived almost dying. My body got me through that. And I love and respect myself now, not always, now looking at that. But I want to be better. I want to be stronger. I want to look back 5 years from now and look back at almost dying and go, bitch, you did the damn thing, okay? Like, I want that feeling to keep going.
Successful podcaster, best-selling author, entrepreneur. I mean, I can envision those things 5 years from now, or 5 years from the being in the hospital. That's all possible. But why?
Yeah.
Because you loved yourself enough. You gave a damn, even in the midst of self-doubt and pain and all the things that kind of held you back. You're like, no, there's a better Brittany inside of me, and I'm screaming to pull her out.
It's literally my becoming Brittany Lee. It's literally, and when I came up with that name, I had no idea what it would turn into, the manifestation that just the name itself would turn into. I remember sitting on the cliff where the picture, when I announced the change from Real Food, Real Life into becoming Brittany Lee, I had no idea. And I was at such a low point in my life. I was so low when I changed my name. And to just watch from that moment to now. And that's why this self-love thing, it's why I harp on it so much, and I tell people they're getting it wrong. Look over here, because it's not about the bubble baths and the wine and all the things that we talked about at the beginning of the episode. It's truly about walking this path to becoming that 1% better every single day. And through that path, through your journey with Stay Boutiquette 1, through 75 Hard, and through checking the list and through doing those things, you're creating confidence in yourself. You're creating trust. You're creating boundaries. You're creating feeling the feels. And at the end of all of that, you've now manifested self-love without having to do some frivolous task. You're doing all the things that lead to that anyway, that lead to that journey. So that's where I feel self-love is so important, and it's not about bubble bath.
Well, we're running out of time, and I want to give people some practical kind of tips if they haven't picked up on them already. So where could people start? Is it just acknowledging that you love yourself? Is that kind of a good place to start, and then adding in things from there? Or what would you give tips?
I would say acknowledge that you don't love yourself. If that's where you're at. Acknowledge that you have ways in which you are not treating yourself with love and with respect. And if you need to, here's a good example. I use my kids a lot of the time of would I say that to my kids? Would I treat my kids that way? And if the answer is no, chances are you don't need to treat yourself that way either.
Yeah.
And so I would never go up to Cammie and be like, oh my God, you're so fat. I would never do that.
Or your mama. For a lot of people, their mamas, people that don't have kids. Just think about, would you say this to your mama?
Yes. Would you say this to someone that you love? There it is. Would you say this thing to someone you love? Would you treat someone that you loved this way? Start there with simple things. When you're sitting down and planning the rest of your week, start with, what am I saying to myself every single day that I would never say to someone that I love? Start there. And start picking through those things and stop doing those things one by one. You don't have to do it all at once, one by one, one step deeper, one step at a time.
And it's like everything we talk about on this show. It's a process. Just work through it. And it's going to feel weird at first. That's okay too. Like, when I started meditating, it was so weird. My brain would go to everything except the meditation. And now it's like, I can't live without meditation. It grows on you. So episode 46, you guys, self-love. It's not what you think. And hopefully by now you recognize what it is, what it isn't. And now you can apply this to your own life. We're very much running out of time. So take it away. Finish the show.
All right. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com. You can find all the past episodes there. You can find them on YouTube. They premiere Sundays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on YouTube. On Facebook, you can find the link to that YouTube video, and also over on Instagram. The full episodes are there. I put up the tidbit. Jimmy puts up the tidbit. You can find those. Those are just quick little 15-minute snippets, kind of like to whet your appetite for the full real deal. And the tidbits are always good. If you can't get anything else in, get the tidbit in. We are a regular podcast, all the places that you can listen: Apples, Spotify, Stitcher, ALEXA. And then lastly, leave us a review. We love hearing from you guys. You can message me personally or message Jimmy personally, but we love hearing from you guys. Leave us a review.
I love that you talk fast. So she's like, he said hurry, so I'm hurrying. So thank you guys so much for being here today. Miss Brittany, wonderful episode. And we'll see you guys again next week.
OneStepDeeperPodcast.com